So I'll be talking about the TV and how it helps me in what I do. So this is a more technical side of the presentation. No? I will get this remote. So the task of an underwater photographer, just like me, is to bring the ocean much closer to the hearts of a wider audience. Now this is very difficult because most people have only see the surface, only have GoPros. So having something like this, and I've seen my photos on this TV, my video, and I was completely blown away. So let me cue on the photos. So all I have to do is go to the input. So there's a live demo going on right now. And mass storage, photo. So the TV obviously is made for video, right? But now I'll show you probably 10 photos and to give you a bit of context on what I do and demonstrate also the features of the TV. So let's start with this one. So we only have it on the screen here, unfortunately, so if you want to scoot over, feel free. So the photos that I've shot are photographed in resolutions that are higher than 4K. So sometimes they're 5K because it's a DSLR camera. Anyway, so this photo was taken in 2015. It was in Monanchon in Malapascua. That's a thresher shark with 2 divers. So it generated a lot of discussion, especially when it was featured in National Geographic, because people aren't used to seeing sharks and people in such close proximity in a very non-threatening situation. So I took it upon myself to comment on all the questions for that photo, and I realized that that's the job of a photographer, is to start a dialogue with these guys. Next would be a close-up of the thresher shark. So here, this photo was taken at probably more than 100 feet deep at 5 a.m. So, and strobes weren't allowed in Monanchon because of the eyes of the shark. And if you bump your ISO to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, obviously there will be noise. And while I was able to tame that a bit in post, the TV pushes it a little further by managing the noise. So hence, this is the noise reduction and action. And this was pretty close, probably a foot away from me. So it's very hard to photograph sharks actually, compared to what you see in Jaws. They're very stigmatized. So when Jaws came out, scared us all out of the water. It was very hard to make people care about sharks. 100 million sharks are killed every year for shark's fin soup. And I think only 5 human casualties come out from shark encounters. So there's a big disparity right there. Of course, I also photograph the cousins of sharks, would be the rays. And I photographed this in Tubataha last year. And you can see here a very, very good demonstration of the black point that they've been discussing. As a photographer and a director, I'm very concerned about the tonality of the films that I do or the photographs that I take. I want to make sure that black is really black, so the colors are actually on point. And if you see here, the gradations of black on the pattern underneath the manta, so those are like fingerprints. So you can identify an individual, I will use the magic remote, to identify if that is the shark that, the ray that they are studying. And then there are some situations in underwater. Light is very different. They behave very differently, especially color. So you can have in one frame, such as this one, where it's very, very bright because you have the sun, but you also have shadows on the lower right part of the frame. Now having a TV that's capable of interpreting HDR, or high dynamic range, is a big advantage for us. So we tried to, when I took this photo and I brought it back in post, I had to bring out more detail from the highlights and then also from the shadows. Usually when we present on workshops or in coastal communities with LED projectors, they don't capture that. So this TV actually does. Okay, but it's not all just for inspiration. So this is a photo of obviously a butanding, and photos like this one help marine scientists to identify the different individuals of whale sharks. So those spots that you see there, again, are like fingerprints. So it helps them identify if this shark passed already through Tubataha or in Oslo or in Tunsol. So we use the left side. We look at the left side of the shark, but in this case, for this video, for this photo, we have the right side. And then you have people who are into conservation itself of the reef. Now, most of our reefs are damaged because of destructive fishing and, and bleaching. And when people come together and donate funds, resources, and time, they want to see where it goes. So taking a photo of something like this, where you have structures holding up coral heads, and they see it, and you see the vividness, the vivid color, it's very inspiring, and it's sort of a validation also for them. I'm also very passionate about single-use plastic. So this is a photo I took in Balikasag, and it was used by National Geographic last month for their Planet or Plastic campaign, so for their online initiatives. So again, you can see how bright it is behind the bag or the subject, and how dark it is around it. So again, this is the first time I've seen it this clear and with this so much detail. But at the end of the day, our role is really also to instill national pride. This is a photo I've taken of my friend who was in Tupataha. So I'm very fortunate to share with you that this will be in one of the NAIA airports next month to promote Tupataha's 30 years. So here you can see everything in play. Noise reduction, accurate black, vivid color, everything is just right there. And if only the print itself or the billboard could be like this, that would be so much more impressive. And not just Tupataha, another gem is Bohol in Balikasag, which is a marine key biodiversity area. And there's also another display, if I'm not mistaken, that we're coming out here in the museum. And turtles are my favorite subjects, of course. They're very cute, they're very cuddly. So I like when I take them, I get to get people to be more into conservation, which is actually a bit different when it comes to sharks. Sharks, people don't like sharks, so it's hard to make them love them. So, but being able to capture portraits like this in the shark beforehand gives you a sense of their personality, and sort of, it's a wrong term, but sort of humanizes them for the viewer. Now, the TV itself is very impressive to have as a tool when we try to share our efforts with coastal communities, with students. But I know it's highly improbable for me to be able to bring this technology with me when I travel, when I give workshops. But in institutions such as the museum right here, you can really be immersed in the photos and the videos that we have taken. It's a different level of appreciation that you get. So if, like James said, the TV itself is a talking piece already, what more about the photo? So it pushes that even further. So normally I use my my Instagram for my advocacy. So if you want to know more, just visit my Instagram. I make use of the microblogging capabilities, so I can share a bit of bite-sized information and also share the photos as well. So it's a very quick turnaround. But if photos are worth 1,000 words, what more about video? And that's what I will share next.